Hare Krishna, we all have heard the name Shabari, but how many of us know about her? Who was she? Let's find out. Shabari, also known as Bhilni, belonged to the Bhil tribe. She was a tribal princess, and right from childhood, she exhibited the qualities of humility, truthfulness, and righteousness. She had love for her fellow creatures. She was a seeker of spiritual knowledge and wanted to know the meaning of dharma or religion. When she grew up, as per the tradition in her community, her marriage was arranged. But as she came from a community of hunters who killed and sacrificed animals, she refused to take part in any killing or animal sacrifice. On the day of her marriage, she was sitting, and when she heard some sounds, she peeped out of the window and saw a large number of animals lying together. Inquisitive to know what all is happening, she called her friend and asked. Her friend replied, saying that all these animals will be killed for the guests to eat. Seeing that so many animals will be killed at her wedding, and being an animal lover, she immediately got up and ran from the wedding venue. Shabari had the guts to take such extreme step in those Vedic times. She had the courage to refuse getting married and remained unmarried throughout her life. Shabari left her family and wandered alone, looking for a spiritual master or guru. Shabari approached many ashrams, but the saints there called her names, refused to take her as she was a girl and that too of a lower caste. However, she remained unflinched in her devotion to find a guru, even though so much prejudice was thrown at her. After traveling for quite a long time, she finally got a chance to meet sage Matang at his ashram near the foothills of Rishyamukh mountain. When Shabari Mata had darshans of Matang Muni, he immediately agreed to keep her in his ashram. In one such incident, it so happened that there was a pond near the ashram called Pampa Sarovar. The water of the pond had become very stale. All the disciples residing in the ashram said that we will not touch the water of the pond as Shabari has touched this. Seeing all this and furious at the behavior of his disciples, Matang Muni asked Shabari to wash her hands in that pond. Obeying her guru's order, Shabari washed her hands in the pond, and to the delight and dismay of everyone present, immediately the water of Pampa pond became very clear and as clean as the water of river Ganga. Seeing all this, everyone was amazed, and this incident proved beyond doubt that Shabari was a devotee of highest caliber. She used to attend to the daily chores of Matang Rishi, like washing his clothes, collecting firewood from the forest, and keeping the ashram premises clean. Shabari Mata would help Sage Matang in every possible manner. Matang Muni was very much pleased with her selfless service, and as she was serving him with a lot of dedication since childhood, thinking that one day Matang Muni will be old and he would require firewood for doing the fire sacrifice. So she would go to the forest, collect the firewood, and keep it near his kutir during winter season, also to keep himself warm. As years passed by, Matang Muni became very old and frail, and one day he called all his disciples and told them that he would be taking a samadhi. Hearing this, Shabari Mata immediately started crying as she thought that what will happen to her in Matang Muni's absence. Hearing this, Matang Muni gave mantras or hymns to all his disciples, and he said that by chanting these mantras they will be able to reach God. When Shabari came to Matang Muni and started crying and said that what will happen to her, and I cannot read or chant any mantra because I am illiterate, I cannot read or write. So, seeing her devotion, Matang Muni replied that do not worry, Shabari, you do not have to do anything. All other disciples will have to chant the mantras to reach God, but you stay where you are, and with your unflinching devotion, I will give you one mantra which will be easier for you to remember, and one day God Himself will come to the ashram and give you darshan. Hearing this, Shabari Mata was very pleased with joy, and she was very happy. When she came to know that her Guru had bestowed her this blessing that Sri Ramchandra himself will come one day, so from that day onwards she used to take the name of Ram day in and day out and used to carry out all her daily chores at the ashram. In the meantime, Sri Ramchandra, along with his younger brother Lakshman, came to the forest in search of Sita Mata. Although many sages were waiting for their arrival at their respective ashrams, but Sri Ramchandra and Lakshman decided to go to the ashram of Matang Muni. When they finally reached the ashram of Matang Muni, there they saw an old woman who was decorating the path with flowers. When Sri Ramchandra reached there, Shabari Mata could not recognize him. And when she could not recognize him, she said, "You cannot walk on this path, as this path will be used only by Sri Ramchandra." Hearing this, Sri Ramchandra smiled and gave Shabari his real identity. Hearing that it was none other than Sri Ramchandra himself, Shabari was ecstatic and said to the Lord, "O Lord, how come you have come to my ashram? I am very much astonished and pleased. You did not go to any other sage's ashram. So it clearly proves that you don't regard caste, you don't regard color, you don't regard creed, you do not see whether a person lives in a hut or whether a person lives in a palace. What you see in your devotee is unflinching devotion and love." And saying all this, Shabari fell at the feet of Sri Ram. When she fell at the feet of Sri Ram, tears of happiness started rolling from her eyes, and these tears drenched the feet of Sri Ram. Then Shabari asked Sri Ramchandra and Lakshman to come inside the hut, where she gave them an asan to sit, and she gave them water to bathe their feet. At this, Sri Ramchandra replied, saying that my feet have already been washed with your tears, so there's no need to wash my feet again. Shabari, in a choked voice, said, "What can I offer you, my lord? However, you please wait. I have something for you." Shabari was waiting all these years for Sri Ramchandra, and she used to continuously say Ram, Ram, Ram in her heart and commit her daily course. And one important core was collecting sweet, juicy berries from the forest. The tradition around the ashram, the aura around the ashram was so pure and divine and positive that the fruits of all the fruit laden trees never became stale. They were always fresh and crisp. Shabari Mata would taste these berries which she would pluck from the trees, and only those berries which were sweet were retained in the basket and rest were thrown by her. So, when that auspicious day arrived, when Sri Ramchandra and Lakshman came to her hut, she went inside the hut and said, "What can I offer you, my lord, except these berries, these bear which I have plucked for you since so many years?" So, full of love and affection, Shabari Mata brought all these berries in the basket and offered them to the Lord. Sri Ramchandra tasted those berries one by one and smiled. Sri Ramchandra tasted those berries, and while he was tasting and eating those berries, his younger brother Lakshman was making faces. When Sri Ramchandra asked him the reason, Lakshman replied, saying that all these berries have been tasted before by Shabari Mata. To this, Sri Ramchandra replied, saying that of all the food which has been served to me till now, these berries taste the sweetest of all. And Sri Ramchandra happily took all the berries which Shabari Mata had kept for him. After offering the berries to Sri Ramchandra, Shabari Mata fell at his feet and asked for salvation. Sri Ram gave her the knowledge of Navda Bhakti, or 9 forms of devotion. Sri Ram asked Shabari to listen well and remember these 9 forms. Pratham Bhagati Santan Kar Sanga. The first step to devotion is to keep company of the saints. Dusari Rati Mam Katha Prasanga. Second step is to enjoy listening to the legends or discourses pertaining to the Lord. Gurupada Pankaj Seva Tisari Bhagati Aman. Selfless service to the Guru's lotus feet without any prejudice is the third step. Chauthi Bhagati Mama Gunagan Karai Kapat Tajgan. The fourth step is to earnestly sing praises of the Lord's virtue with the heart clear of deceit or hypocrisy. Mantra Jap Mama Drida Vishwasa Pancham Bhajan So Ved Prakasha. Chanting my name with steadfast faith is the fifth step as revealed in the Vedas. The sixth is to practice self-control, good character, detachment from manifold activities, and always follow the duties as a good religious person. सतवम सम मोहि मैं जग देखा, मोते संत अधिक करी लेखा. Seventh is to perceive the world as God Himself and regard the saints higher than the Lord. आठव जठा लाभ संतोषा, सपनेउ नहीं देखई परदोषा. The eighth is a state where there is no desire left but the gift of perfect peace and contentment with whatever one has. In this state, one does not see fault in others, even in a dream. नवमे जिनके एक हु होए, नार पुरुष सराचर कोए. Sri Ramchandra adds that Shabari's bhakti is perfectly complete, yet she had this unflinching faith and devotion towards Lord, and that faith and devotion brought her to have darshan of Lord one fine day, where she was guided by her guru Matang Rishi. So, from Shabari's life, we have to learn many things, and very important thing which we hear from her life history is the 9 forms of devotion which Sri Ramchandra told her. And these 9 forms of bhakti which anyone does, in fact, if anyone does any one form of bhakti, one can attain salvation and reach Saket Dham, or the kingdom of Lord Shri Ram. So, do like, share, comment and subscribe. Until next time, Hare Krishna.